Welcome, everyone. This is the first step in an 8-part series to help you move beyond compliance work and into true strategic leadership. Because here's the reality: clients don't just want tax returns, they want clarity and coordination with their advisors, and they want confidence that nothing is slipping through the cracks. And the upside is that this space is something that you can own if you're willing to step into that. So today, I will be your facilitator. Um, Real quick introduction: award-winning sales professional for Johnson and Johnson. Ended up transitioning to raising 42 million for a handful of companies, and being in the trenches with business owners, understanding what they struggle with, what they need, which has driven me to create digital family offices for those professionals, building those teams, and then helping professionals like you do the same thing. And with me, we have Mike Clark, and I'll let Mike introduce himself.
Well, thanks, Mike. So I hope today to bring the perspective of a relatively long career in the wealth management field. I've been doing this for 33 years now. And in that time, I've seen a lot of what works and a lot of what doesn't work across literally hundreds of high net worth families. And so my role here today is to give you is to share with you some stories from the field, and some of the moments that have made all the difference.
And so together, we're going to balance kind of a practical strategy with real world, like Mike said, real world client insights. One part structure, one part experience, but everything we share is built to be applied in your practice immediately. This isn't theory. These are things that you can implement, questions you can ask to really start to drive your business. But before we dive in, I do want to set the tone here. I've attended a lot of CE classes, although I'm not a CPA. Most of the classes that I've attended are software. They're heavy on theory and light on application that you can implement today. And so you might have taken notes on some of these things, but the question is like, when do you implement this and how can you? So think about this. How many times have you watched a CE class and walked away with actionable steps to help your business move forward? This is what we hope to do today. We're not here to tell you what you could do. We're here to show you how to actually do it. And the how is what moves your business forward. So my ask is very simple. Be present. Get off the email, get off the phone, take notes if you need to, write questions down. The more you're engaged in this process, the more valuable this will be. And then at the end, we'll provide an email. But I do want to be very clear as we get going here. This is not about you becoming an estate planning attorney, a financial advisor, or any other profession. It's really just a way to identify clients' needs, ask the right questions, and then fill those gaps with strategic partnerships. So, with expectations out of the way, we want to talk about some objections or objectives for this session. And so, by the end of this, we want to help you reframe wealth conversations around clarity, control, and legacy, help identify emotional and structural challenges faced by high net worth individuals, as well as those very high net worth individuals, so you can start attracting more of them. We're going to identify some silent wealth killers through different conversation techniques, and then apply a roadmap type conversation to align goals with your goals with client values. And then at the end, position yourself as an integrator who unifies advisors and strategies.
And keep this in mind. These aren't just learning objectives for compliance. These are practice objectives, really. Each one is a doorway into a stronger relationship. It's a doorway into more referrals. And most importantly, it's a doorway into deeper revenue per client.
And so here is the opportunity. Clients are telling us, and different surveys in your guys' publications, that they want more than compliance. They don't just want you to report history. They want you to be proactive. They want you to connect the dots and help guide them forward through this financial life of theirs.
And the numbers back this up. Right now, nearly 70% of all firms admit they only expand into new services when clients ask them first. This means that most CPAs are waiting for leadership instead of providing it. They're following instead of leading. But what we also know is that firms that add advisory services see recurring revenue stabilize over the course of the year. It stabilizes their cash flow, and it smooths out their seasonality. They're no longer generating revenue seasonally. And the last one is my favorite. Just a 5% increase in client retention. Let me repeat that. If you improve by your retention by just 5%, it can boost your profitability by up to 95%. That's an enormous number. So that's the power of leverage. It's not about doing more work. It's getting more value. It's introducing more value to and from the relationships you already have.
Right. And then, I'll put this pretty plainly. Clients are practically begging for this. Survey after survey shows this. They want someone who can help them define what wealth means, to help them surface the blind spots that they don't even know they don't know about, and then coordinate their team to fill those blind spots. And you, as CPAs, are uniquely positioned because you see that entire picture.
And this isn't just theory. Firms that embrace advisory conversations are seeing revenue per client grow by 20 to 30%. That's a huge number. And they're not doing it by adding new clients, but by serving their current clients more effectively and more deeply. Your clients trust you more than any other advisor. The only question is whether you will step into that leadership role or whether you're going to let someone else take the leadership role.
Right. Right. And so here's the bigger picture. Advisory isn't just a side hustle anymore in your guys' industry or ours, quite frankly. It's where the entire profession is actually headed.
That's exactly right. And look at the numbers. Nearly half of firms say they'll spend more time on advisory within the next year. Right now, the top 100 firms are already generating significant revenue outside of just their compliance work. They're generating significant revenue from these additional services. Smaller firms that don't adapt to this, they risk being left behind. And we know that firms that build recurring advisory services enjoy a more predictable cash flow, and they also enjoy a stronger client retention. So the takeaway is advisory, the things that we're talking about, these different advisory services, and you being this advisor leader, that isn't optional anymore. It's the new normal. And the firms that move first are the ones that are going to thrive.
And here's the irony. Like, making money is one thing. Creating wealth is often easier than people think it is. It's protecting it that's the problem. And so whether you run a profitable business, you're investing consistently, you sell at the right time, that builds wealth. But preserving it, that's where that complexity creeps in. Lawsuits, outdated insurance. I'm sure you've had clients that had family disputes. It's those silent risks that don't show up in quarterly statements that cause the biggest problems.
Yeah, and let me offer an example here. A family that I once knew built an 8-figure fortune in real estate. They were quite wealthy, at least on paper, and they thought that they were untouchable. But they missed an update to one of their liability policies. So they had coverage that was antiquated and outdated, and in the end, it exposed them in a lawsuit, and the settlement cost them nearly $3 million. Okay,